When I saw Jetboil announce their new updated flash stove, I have never impulse bought something so quickly in my life. I first got the Jetboil flash in 2019 and I've used it on the AT, car camping, RVing, just backpacking trips here and there. I use it at home sometimes when the power goes out. I have loved it and I've gotten so much use out of it, but I've also been so annoyed at it at the same time. There's things on it that break, things on it that I don't like. So with this new updated flash stove that just came out, I'm really hoping it fixes all those little annoyances that I've had. This is the brand new and improved Jetboil that I just bought. And this is the one that I bought back in 2019 and I've gotten so much use out of. As you can see, they look very similar. The same size, same concept, but there's a lot of things that make this one so much better. And I'm going to go over all the little things, all the comparisons, and then let you know if this one is worth upgrading or buying if you've never had a Jetboil before. So there's a few different reasons why I initially got this Jetboil in 2019. That was the time where I was first planning my Appalachian Trail through hike. I was very new to backpacking, and I had a conversation with a past through hiker who said getting a Jetboil was his one piece of advice because it was so fuel efficient. One fuel canister was able to take him so long on the trail. I'm pretty sure he said he only went through like 3 fuel canisters for his entire hike, and he made coffee every single morning. So it was very fuel efficient. And honestly, since I was so new to backpacking, the idea of fire and fuel and just cooking outside really intimidated me. I had never done anything like that before. So the fact that this had a built-in igniter and it was just an all-in-one system, it was a more attractive system. It made it seem easy and it seemed like I could get the hang of it pretty quick instead of having one of the backpacking stoves with the open flame. I don't know, that kind of scared me. So this was a good intro to cooking outside, just the all-in-one system. However, I will say 2 of the things I was most excited about when it came to this Jetboil flash broke within the first 2 times of me using it. So this right here is the control valve for the flame. This pops off so easily and it's not supposed to. And every time I have to go and turn this old flash on, I have to find the 2 holes that it connects to, hold it together like this, and spin it. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So now when you turn this on, you're supposed to be able to ignite the flame with just this button, and it never really works that well for me. Oh my God, it works for the video, of course. So if you see this piece right here, this has to be in the perfect spot for the flame to ignite. And I guess it wasn't the perfect spot today, but it's so easy for this to like move and come out of place. So say this wasn't in the perfect spot, if it got bumped or something, you would turn on that, press the button, nothing would happen. And so this was the case for a lot of my attempts of using this stove. So because the igniter button didn't work most of the time and it wasn't consistent, I always ended up just lighting it with a lighter anyways, which kind of defeated the purpose of me buying this because I didn't like dealing with the fire. So you can still turn this and light it, but I still don't like doing that to this day. So enough about the old Jetboil. Let's talk about the new one and all the improvements that they made. It's still an all-in-one system and all the pieces nestle very well inside of this. You got the lid. I have my own little cloth right there. Fuel, the stand for it, and the stove part. Oh, and then there's like a bowl too that kind of protects the bottom. But you could also put your food in here and eat out of it. Because a side note, I kind of just learned this. Jetboil is mostly used for just boiling water and not really cooking a meal inside. So this is good for hikers with bags of dehydrated food. So we got an improved lid that snaps on much better and more secure. We have a rubber grip, which is great for handling this when it's hot. It's exactly where you need to grab it in order to like take this off and put it on. It's got an improved locking system, so it just kind of tells you where to line it up in order to lock it. And then the big improvements for me, the one-step auto igniter, much more durable than the old handle on the last flash. So you just turn it and then the last little click will light it. So much easier. And then how I was saying that this little piece in the last flash moved, and if it wasn't in the right location, it wouldn't light. This is secure. It's kind of got this, like, it's enclosed in a case, so this will not move. So it's always in the perfect position to be able to light this. So this just seems like it would be a lot more consistent. Huge thank you to Element for sponsoring this video. We are going to put this Jetboil to the test by making Element's salty coffee. Element is an electrolyte drink mix that has everything you need to stay perfectly hydrated on the trail. I am obsessed with the recipes section on Element's website because it gives me really good ideas, and they have a whole category of drinks you can make that are hot. So drinks you can make with the Jetboil, and I think that's really fun. Oh my God, is that already boiling? That was so fast. All right, we got some coffee, got some Element. So for this recipe, I'm using the chocolate caramel Element flavor. This is actually a chocolate flavor that is available year round. I know the chocolate medley came and went, but chocolate caramel is so good. Element is used by so many different people, from Navy SEALs, Olympic athletes, NBA players, moms, dads, hikers. So many different types of people use and enjoy Element. If you would like to try Element, if you want 8 free sticks of Element thrown in with your purchase, all you have to do is use my link, which is drinkelement.com/Nahamsha. That's right. Any purchase you make with that link, you'll get a free sample pack with 8 different flavors to try. So thank you, Element, for sponsoring this video, and let's do a little salty coffee taste test. So the Jetboil is a very good backpacking stove, but it's no lie that it's one of the heaviest backpacking stoves on the market. I personally think that a lot of the features in the Jetboil make the extra weight worth it, but I completely understand the people who go ultra light in this category because it can save a lot of weight. Without the fuel, the new Jetboil weighs 14 ounces. And then the old Jetboil weighs 13.9. So the new version is a 0.1 ounce heavier, but are you really going to be able to tell? So this is Jetboil's more lightweight option. It still heats up the water really fast with the flux ring technology. We'll get to that in a second, but it doesn't have like the koozie, it doesn't have the igniter, it doesn't have some of the fancier things. So this one is lighter. It comes in at 7.2 ounces. But if we get away from Jetboil and you take just a really cheap, really ultralight setup, a Toaks titanium pot, and a tiny BRS stove that I got off of Amazon, this together comes in at 3.4 ounces. So there's a really big difference between a stove that's 3.4 ounces and a stove that's 14. So I feel like thru hikers are going to gravitate more towards an ultralight option like this, because when you're carrying something this heavy from Georgia to Maine, or Maine to Georgia, or whatever you're hiking, you're gonna probably be able to tell that difference. So I did carry a Jetboil flash for about 600 miles of the Appalachian Trail. And I did carry a Jetboil stash for, I think, a full through hike. And I've had similar experiences with both. I have taken this super ultralight option out on a backpacking trip and overnight here and there. And I can say that this is not my favorite. I do not like this. I don't think it performed well in the cold, in the wind. So this is cool for ultralight trips, but not really my favorite at all. I really do like Jetboil for their convenience, for how quick it boils water. Let's do that experiment right now. So there's no difference between the new and the old flash when it comes to boiling times and fuel efficiency. It's the same system, but the website does advertise that it can boil 2 cups of water in 100 seconds. So we're just gonna test the accuracy of that for this review. And if you didn't know, this cup that attaches to the bottom of the flask does have a measuring cup. So 1 cup, 2 cups. And to time this, I'm going to use the stopwatch on my watch. Also a feature with the old and the new flash is this right here. This will turn completely orange when the water is boiling. All right, 30 seconds, 1 minute, 1 minute and 30 seconds, 100 seconds. It's actually not boiling yet. All right, it's completely orange. It's boiling, and that was exactly 2 minutes. So that was a little longer than 100 seconds, and I'm sure conditions can play a factor into that time. It is windy, but I don't know, 2 minutes to boil water is not bad. I did weigh the fuel canister before we boiled the water to see how many grams of fuel that took, because a huge benefit of the Jetboil is how fuel efficient it is. Like I said, that thru hiker who recommended it back in 2019, that was his favorite thing, that this fuel canister can last a very long time. So it was 170 grams when I started. And after boiling 2 cups of water, it is now at 165. So 5 grams of fuel to boil 2 cups of water. So this would last a very long time with the Jetboil Flash. Now, just out of curiosity, I feel like we should test the super ultralight, super cheap backpacking stove from Amazon, just so we can compare how much fuel the Jetboil does save and how much time it also saves boiling water. So this has markings in here. So we're gonna do 2 cups of water, which basically takes up this entire pot. See, that takes me so long to light. That's why I don't It's not even that windy, and this is already having a hard time staying lit. All right, it's been 1 minute, and just looking at it so far, it seems like even the slightest wind that comes through completely takes away the flame. It's now been 2 minutes, and nothing is happening yet. We're at 3 minutes right now. A little signs of boiling. We got some steam coming out. All right, we're at 4 minutes. We got double the amount of time that the Jetboil took. Now we have to weigh the fuel. Definitely not as convenient having the built-in koozie. As you can probably tell, the Jetboil is a little easier to handle than something like this. So this started at 166 grams, and it is now at 152. So it took over double the amount of time to boil and over, 3 or 4 times the amount of fuel. So I really like the convenience of Jetboil. So like I mentioned a little bit before, the whole reason why Jetboil is able to boil the water so quickly is because of these rings. That's what they call the flux ring technology. All the little grooves in there, it increases the surface area that gets hot or warms up the water, something like that. So it's very efficient. And also this little windscreen around it kind of stops the wind. So we were seeing with the ultralight, the wind was a huge issue. It kept like blowing out the flame. That was never the case when I was using this. It never seemed to be affected by the wind. And that is going to conclude my Jetboil video. All the improvements with the new version. I am so happy that I upgraded. It is a complete game changer. I feel like after 5 years with the broken Jetboil, I deserve a new one. So I'm really glad. If you don't have a Flash yet and you have been interested, I feel like this is a great time to get it right after they updated it. It's all good things. I love everything they did. It makes sense. I was reading that they were observing people use the Jetboil and they just really did what they thought people wanted. And I think they achieved that. So if you're like me, if you like car camping, RVing, if you use your Jetboil when the power goes out, if you like to boil water to put in your backpacking meals to make hot drinks, I think the Jetboil is just a really good idea. I know it's a lot of money. I'll put the price of it up on the screen right now. I don't really remember, but I am a big fan of it, and I will put a link in the description. This is not sponsored at all by Jetboil. They didn't know I did this. I paid for it with my own money. As you know, I do like talking about gear, and I am now dabbling in the gear review. If you didn't see, I just reviewed 5 backpacks from REI, and I'd love to review and talk about gear a little more in the future. So thank you for watching. Let me know if I missed anything with this gear review video. I am still new to it. Let me know if you want to see anything else in the future. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.